Chuck, you are one of those important contemporary artists whose work sells in the 7 figures, and there's a waiting list for it. Imagine some kid who can't get a gallery, where the rents are so high that the gallery can't even show the work. I tried. I represented artists in the primary market.
I know more of them than you know.
Chuck, let me tell you, I tried it, and I'm no good at promotion, the touting, and all that publicity and the politics that go into making an artist successful. So I ran around feeling responsible and guilty, all right, because I couldn't do it. I don't know how to do it.
That's not why you didn't do it. The reason you didn't do it is because you had a gift for what you are doing. You're not involved with the contemporary art world because it wasn't the first language that you really were
Jerry,
meant to
I showed
speak.
contemporary artists in Chicago when
I worked for you when I was 21. On Michigan Avenue. I was there.
Well, right look.
620 Michigan.
Right now, it's all about, it's the Charles Saatchi's feeding into
no, it
Larry
isn't only
Gagosian's,
about
into the
that.
auction houses.
You're
the whole
only
thing
looking
is
at
about touting.
one tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of it and saying that's the whole thing from top to bottom, that it's the core. So it's become that for you guys.
I didn't say
even
top to
in
bottom.
the auction house, it's not that way. I mean, even sitting in it, it's not that way. I mean,
auction houses won't take anything for sale unless it costs a certain huge sum of money. They won't even accept it in an auction.
Adam Lindemann, you said, Adam,
I don't think that's
we
true.
sell things all day for $1,000.
Adam Lindemann argued that the market is ripe for unethical behavior, but you didn't really gauge whether you think there actually is a lot of unethical behavior going on. You didn't say one way or the other. And it seems to me relevant to this topic, whether we're talking about a few bad apples or are we talking about large-scale unethical behavior. And I want to ask your side, if it's a few bad apples, then we're not talking about a huge problem. But is it bigger than that?
It seems to me that the question becomes, is the proposition correct in a systemic definition, or is it correct in practice? Meaning, is the system that is the art market, the unregulated art market, inherently more open to unethical behavior than the regulated market? Now, your question is, in practice, is the art market actually unethical? And I have tremendous respect for the other side here. Speaking of ethics, I think that had I chosen the other side, I wouldn't have made the panel because they had more people on that side than this one. So I sensed that there was a spot for me over here, and I'm arguing this side, which has a lot to do about art and the art market. You have to feel your way through. That being said, the people that I deal with are the people that I think are ethical. I choose people that I have a relationship with, that are either my friends or I have a good feeling about them. And do things happen? Of course, everything happens. In this world, anything can happen. That being said, our side has definitely we're going downhill here in the sense that we don't have any rules in the art market, and sort of, whereas the public is protected by the SEC, as we were saying, perhaps imperfectly so, but that's the effort. The public can enjoy the art world that Jerry Saltz has laid out for us, and certainly should support the art world that Chuck Close has laid out for us, and I do feel very strongly that way. Nonetheless, there are no rules. There's no inherent value. I mean, the other side literally said, let me see here, artists, where was it? There is no intrinsic value, only extrinsic value. That's Chuck Close's word. So if there is no intrinsic value, then it's ripe for unethical behavior.
Well, let me turn to your teammate, Michael Hue-Williams. And Michael, if you can approach your microphone a little bit, I got a signal that the radio is having a little bit of difficulty because of the distance. Are there a lot of unethical players, and a lot of unethical players in the art market, or only a few? Or do you not know because nobody knows?
I'm sure there may be, but I'm sure I don't know them. I think your question is an interesting one, but it actually has no bearing on the motion that we're discussing here, because this motion is a purely hypothetical motion. So I'm going to bring this back, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to agree.
You really don't like to answer direct questions, do you?
Now I'm completely lost. I think that I think that the art market is open for manipulation because it's unregulated. I think it is unregulated because historically it's found its own way of operating because it's just simply actually not possible to regulate this market. And it would be a ghastly thing if it ever could be regulated. And a lot of the excitement and fun would go out of it. So to answer your question, do I know a lot of bad apples in the art market? No. But the art market, when we have instances of things going wrong and manipulations and unethical behavior, attracts a huge amount of attention, a disproportionate amount of attention, because the art market is very exciting. It is very well reported. It always has been, because it is also the cradle of, it's an expression of humanity. It's an expression of something that is above the humdrum essence of daily life. It's something that, when it is truly great, it takes us into another realm, into a realm that hopefully will have it will have cultural credibility for years and decades and centuries to come.
Let's take a question from the front row, sir.
Well, we've heard tonight that the artist and the primary dealer are at the foundation of the art market, along with the collector. But we haven't, and we've heard how secondary dealers and groups of collectors can manipulate the market. But I'm wondering, how does the art critic fit into this? Do the Clement Greenbergs of the world manipulate the art market, the Jerry Saltzes of the world? Where does the critic fit?
That's a really good question. I think we're really, once upon a time, the Clement Greenbergs of the art world did, and they were able to manipulate taste, and therefore the market. That time, luckily, is long, long gone. And that now I can like this, another critic can like that, Michael Wilson can like this. I'm looking at art critics in the room. And it really, we don't have that kind of sway. I can say that Damien Hirst's recent paintings were absolutely generic 40th generation photorealist paintings, which I did write. And do you know how many he sold? All of them. And I've done that a lot. And just to show you the other side, oh, well, he's just saying, he's being, I've written that certain young artists are very, very good. And it doesn't do, it won't do anything. It has to be there. I don't know what it is, you know. If you know, let me know.
I just wanted to take you a slightly different direction. If you go back nearly 100 years, and you think of not an art critic, but a very influential art historian, Bernard Berenson, who was in cahoots with Duveen. Here you have an incredibly powerful manipulation, which subsequently many other art historians have found to be entirely unethical, and which museologists and museum directors have had to unravel as a result of the collusion between Joe Duveen and Bernard Berenson. So I'm just pointing that out as a fascinating manipulation of the market from an art historical point of view.